Anti-slavery.
Let's talk about the anti-slavery.
Slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans?
It's a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to
I didn't
try
realize
to
this was
end slavery?
controversial. Okay.
Well, what's controversial?
I'm very surprised.
This is an extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Do you realize that
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and who was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is
in
that
the context of American history,
okay.
in the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by saying that it was white people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of past, yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is a gay flag?
I go on CNN and I get the topics ahead of time. So one of them is that Trump is trying to revise history by asking the Smithsonian to revisit some of their installations.
What does that mean, like art pieces?
I wasn't sure.
Okay.
So I asked the same question. And so I reached out to the comms team at the White House. I said, listen, this is going to come up. Can I ask you, what installations is the administration taking umbrage with? Can you send it to me? So they send me a document, and it's about 50 pages.
Oh my word.
Not one thing in the document, not one installation actually is about slavery. Not one.
Have you ever spoken about any of this type of subject?
I didn't even know about it. I literally didn't know about it until I was asked to kind of weigh in on it on CNN. This one woman on the other side immediately goes to Trump is whitewashing slavery. So with unbelievable confidence, knowing what was in there, I'm like, no, he's not. And then when I said no, he's not, then Abby Phillips and Richie Torres essentially, I guess, made some sort of assumption that I was trying to defend slavery. I'm not quite sure where they got that impression. We constantly talk about white supremacy, but we look the other way with black degeneracy. It begets white hostility that then validates and begets white degeneracy. And it's this impossible cycle. So I turned around to Richie Torres and I was like, do you realize that less than 2% of Americans owned white Americans owned slaves?
Wow.
And the reason I say this is I'm not trying to whitewash slavery. It's because not all white people are the enemy. That throughout history, there are two sides. There were horrors and atrocities and bad guys and disgusting things that happened at the hands of whites against blacks during slavery. But there were also the white people, the abolitionists, that abolished it in their states and that died to end it.
Wow.
And you know what else, guys? We stood shoulder to shoulder in the 60s. We stood shoulder to shoulder with the George Floyd situation. Like, we have done this throughout history. We have bent the trajectory of history in the right direction. But if you cannot turn around and say that without being called a racist, like, I don't know where we are. All I can tell you is it's now I'm like, all right, well, now we're here. I'm gonna, lean into the conversation where appropriate. But I also think there are two narratives going on. And white people, we really don't understand. We don't. And then black people are like, I don't have to explain this to you. And it's like, maybe you do. Maybe you do. And white people, even though you may not have been responsible for it, and you don't want to get another lecture, I think you need to sit there and listen long enough to understand why the pain is still there. And it's like, we gotta fucking talk about it, guys! Gotta do it! So anyway, that happened, and now I'm here with you.
Jillian Michaels, the former star of The Biggest Loser and now a MAGA influencer, was on Newsnight last week, and we were having a discussion on the show about Trump's attempts to influence parts of American culture, like the Smithsonian, like the Kennedy Center, and the arts, when suddenly the conversation turned to slavery and race, and Jillian argued that everything in the culture has become now about race.
He's not whitewashing slavery. So he's not. No, okay. He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does.
Then what really shocked all of us at the table was that she seemed to try to be minimizing the impact of racism and slavery on American history.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race
I
to
didn't
try
realize
to
this was
end
controversial.
slavery?
That's an incredibly misleading statistic because even the Americans who did not own slaves also participated in slavery by benefiting from the economic system of slavery, the political system of slavery, and culturally treating Black people as if they were not human. But Jillian didn't acknowledge any of those things, and that, I think, is really what shocked so many of us at the table. Since then, she's doubled down, and she's even said that she had reached out to the White House before coming on the show to ask them about which Smithsonian exhibits they wanted to dispute. She acknowledged that none of the talking points provided by the White House, according to her, had to do with slavery, and yet she still decided to downplay it at the Newsnight table. Fast forward a couple of days later, and now President Trump is actually also downplaying slavery, suggesting that the Smithsonian talks about it too much and overemphasizes the negative of slavery in the context of American history. Here's the truth. Slavery in the United States was about race. It was about white supremacy, and it was really, really bad. Now, Jillian, like many other voters, is entitled to her opinion. She's just not entitled to her own facts.
First of all praise to the Father Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakadash. Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers and sisters in recognition to observing this day for worshiping the Most High. Sundown this evening to sundown tomorrow evening. My people, let's get some rest, worship and praising to the Father Yahweh in Yahweh Shai name, because this is a commandment throughout all of our dwellings, and He's more than worthy of such. Okay? Now, let's address the biggest loser, Jillian Michaels. And she is the biggest loser. The thing is this, I'm getting tired, I've been tired of people of this race right here, her race, making like slavery wasn't that bad, number one. Something we should just go get over with, and they always coming up with something new. Less than 2% of white people actually own slaves. Well, that's all right, even if that were true. You yourself is going into slavery to this day when it's all said and done. This is the word of the Most High Himself. Says this is what's going to happen to you before your destruction. You see, and that's just what it is, and we'll see how you feel when it's your time. We'll see what kind of argument you want to make then. There's always these kind of arguments, just like with critical race theory. They don't want that taught in school to their children what their ancestors did to our ancestors. Now Trump is talking about the Smithsonian harping on slavery too much. Why are they acting like this? I can tell you why. Because whenever the truth gets thrown up in your face and you're guilty of it, you feeling convicted of it, this is how you do. You deflect. You see what I'm saying? But here's the deal. The Most High has broken our chains, and we are rising up and waking up to who we are and who we belong to. Okay? And Jillian Michaels and the rest of your people, with your attitude, your time to be in chains is rapidly approaching. That's just what it is. Now, let's start over here in Exodus. Here in Exodus chapter 21, verse 16, it reads, "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." Okay? Now this is the word of the Most High. This is how He feels about man stealers, and man sellers, enslavers, and all that kind of stuff. So it don't make no difference about you talking about less than 2% of people white people, that is, own slaves. It was more than that. You see, if you look at a lot of them attitude to this day, they still think they own us. You see what I mean? They still think, you know what I mean? Just be a supervisor. If you're a supervisor on your job and you tell somebody something, a so-called white person something to do, just watch how they act. A lot of times they don't like taking orders from you. Why? Because they think they're supposed to be over you. Now this is just harsh, cold facts. Regardless of who can handle it or not, it's the truth. Okay? And that's just what it is. Now, like I said, Jillian Michaels, your time to be in chains before your destruction is rapidly approaching. And we're gonna see how much you're gonna talk about how black degeneracy, turns into, white degeneracy. Well, it's always white degeneracy. Don't deflect. Okay, let's go over to Isaiah chapter 14. See, it's something you need to understand. You need to learn, because I don't think you know nothing about these words right here, especially because of your lifestyle. I don't think you even pick up the Most High's word. You don't want to see what's in that book because of your lifestyle. So, because you'll feel convicted on that too. Let's talk here in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. That be us. For those of you who don't know. And set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. These strangers are going to be the nations, certain nations, that's going to somewhat get a little bit of salvation. They're going to have to be under our rule, though. You see what I'm saying? That's how this works right here. Because the Hamashiach is going to put them under our rule. Okay? Verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Jillian Michaels. Okay? And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. Jillian Michaels, Donald Trump, all of y'all, every last one of y'all. This is what your future is coming to before you are destroyed. Okay? Don't get mad at me. I'm just reciting what the Most High's word says in real time before you. And this is prophecy. And if you're arguing with prophecy and say, oh, well, that prophecy, that don't mean nothing. It's not prophetic until it actually happens. Well, look, prophecy is undefeatable as it is. You see, it has not failed yet. Anything that comes out of the Most High's mouth, his word don't come back void. It's in his word. So you can forget about that. This is real right here. Verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Okay. Now the Most High did put his people into bondage simply because actually our people put themselves in bondage. Why? Because they refused to keep the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High, our Father. They refused to. Hard-headed. Most High warned us. Wouldn't listen, so we was made to serve hard bondage. But the enemy went overboard with it. You see what I'm saying? He went overboard with it, and that's just what it is. Now he got to pay. Verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressors ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. See, this is going to be a happy day. You see what I mean? For the entire earth. Not only for us as a people, as the Most High redeem us and basically send the Hamashiach, our big brother, to redeem us out of our sins and save us and restore us back to where we were supposed to be. But the thing is this, the rulers, all these ones talking proud now, your time is coming and you gonna feel the same thing that we felt, but even worse. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow has come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even at the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? So what we gonna tell y'all, now y'all just like we was when we were slaves. Y'all weak, y'all ain't got no power in your hands, and we now rule over you. See, this is what you don't understand, all you proud so-called white folks out there. Better known as Esau, but you really started out as the seed of Cain, sons of Cain. You see what I mean? Kenites. Y'all change our name because our brother Esau, I'm gonna tell you something, who was actually black himself, but a red bone. You see what I mean? He was a red bone. The Most High can't stand him because he was wicked and profane, and he did things with the seed of Cain and brung about abominable things on this earth, and he was told not to. They say, you know, he gave up his heritage for a bowl of porridge or meat or something, I don't know. But even though Esau is what helped sponge you on the earth, that's what it all boils down to. He really basically sold out to the devil himself. Okay? Now with that being said, let's go over here in Revelation chapter 3 verse 9. And it reads, this is the Hamashiach speaking. You see that? Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. This is what the Father say, because y'all always saying, where's your God at now? Your God don't love you, your God don't care about you. And a lot of our people are saying that if God loved us, he wouldn't have put us in slavery, he wouldn't turn his back on us and this and that. Well, we didn't show love to him, number one, and it was all about discipline. But the main thing is what the Hamashiach is saying right here is what's going to happen to these ones that say they, you know, they are the synagogue of Satan, and more than likely, I bet you money, Jillian Michaels will actually say, you know, identify as Jews. Okay, maybe not, but I believe she does. Okay, this right here is what you have to look forward to. You see, you may, if you come across this video right here, you may want to give it some thought before you want to act like, oh, slavery wasn't that bad. Only 2% of people, but white people that is, actually owned slaves, and it was black degeneracy, you know, and white people getting blamed, and they being white degeneracy and all that old mess you was talking. You see, you better be thinking about this right here, because you know what? Your fathers, they told y'all lies. That's in the word too. And y'all gonna say that. We have inherited lies. Yes, see. So think before you speak. Because your government know the prophecy. Trump them, they know all of this right here. And some stuff that was taken out, they know. They took their head. They know. But your boy Putin, the president of Russia, he telling the truth about what it really is and who's really who. He opened those vaults back here last year. And he talks about how black people are the children of Israel and how the Hamashiach, who y'all call Jesus, but that's not his name. His name is Yahushai. Some people pronounce it Yahweh, Yahusha, Yahushai, or what have you. But he is the begotten son of the Father Yahweh, who sent him here to redeem his people, save them out of their sins. Putin showed that. You see, and an American government is mad as hell because of that. But hey, Putin trying to get in himself. Putin trying to be, a little slave and this and that. He don't want to be damned. I'm telling the truth. And that's what it is. They the people. We're not. See, you got to understand this, Jillian Michaels, Donald Trump, all y'all. We're the people. And you can't hide that, regardless of trying to cover up, not teach critical race theory. Your children still going to find out. Okay? Now we're going to go over here. The Revelation chapter. Let me see if I want to read this. Let me see. I don't know if I got enough time here. Well, we're just going to go over in 13:10. But this is my main point right here I want to make. The Revelations 3:9, okay? Let's go 13:10. Revelation 13:10. And it reads. Look at here. This is why you going into captivity, because what the Most High said. Right here. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Okay? We know your people led us into captivity. Rather it was 2%, 1%, however many percent. And by the way, 2% still a lot of people. Still a lot of white people, because it's said to be only 1%. That's actually, the 1% is running everything. Jillian Michaels. Okay? So, hey, that don't mean anything. That's void right there. Doesn't negate the truth. He that killeth with a sword must be killed with a sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Okay? Jillian Michaels. Now we're going to go over here in Revelations. Wait. Let me look and see. Yeah, we're going to go over here in Revelation chapter 18, verse 6. Just a small lesson for you, Jillian Michaels. You gonna get paid back double. Your people, y'all gonna get paid back double what y'all did to us. Ooh-wee. It was bad for us. So bad, every nation looked down on us to this day, the way y'all act. What a joke. But it says here, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. So you gonna get double for all the mean little hateful things you've done to us. You understand? You're gonna get double. Now I'm gonna read this right here. Revelation chapter 18 verse 3, and it reads, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich, meaning your people benefited from all of the slavery that our people, our ancestors served, and you still do to this day, and you talking stuff. You see, and the merchants of the earth wax rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Her delicacies was us. We the foundation. Our people the foundation of everything here. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Yea, is. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh, who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. All of this is coming down because the Hamashiach coming ain't going to destroy it. And when he do, you, Jillian Michaels, well, you're going to find yourself in the same predicament that we were in once. But it's going to be worse for you, because the thing is, we're going to go on. We're going to be restored. You going into slavery, and then after that, well, you shall be no more. You shall be no more. Okay? That's what it is. Now, that's all I got on this lesson, people. I hope I said something to stimulate your spiritual growth, and I hope you found the lesson edifying. All praise to the Father Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. People, please remember to live your life as though we are being watched, simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.